So I am in my Canvas course. I'm just in a sample course right now, and I'm under assignments. Now, you could do this in any of your courses. You could also do this in a sandbox course. So if you want to just kind of play around with Plato content, you can also do that as well within a sandbox course. That's really what I'm in right now is this sandbox course. And I'm just going to come up to the top and choose plus assignment. Once this loads, it's going to look like a regular assignment. I'm still going to be able to put a name in there, put a description in there. All of that information will still be included within my assignment. So I'm just going to use Plato case 430. So I'm just going to give it a name really quickly. And then as I scroll down to the bottom, I'm going to be able to add points. And I'm going to talk about points a little later once we actually get into the Plato content, but points will be important. It's going to help determine what sort of grade, I guess, is passed back. I guess it's not really going to help it determine the grade that's passed back, but it will make a difference in the end in terms of the grade being passed back to Canvas from Plato. So just keep in mind you do have points here. Now, if you just want to do it for completion, let's say like you're just giving this to students and they either complete it or they don't complete it, I would honestly just make it 1 point. And so that's then just going to be, hey, I've got this 1 point assignment. You either mastered it and you did everything, or you didn't and you get 0 or something along those lines. So it's just a quick check. And then it doesn't really do a whole lot to the student's grade. So just some ideas there for you. And then as I scroll down, your submission type, likely your submission type is going to be online by default, but it might also be like no submission. I've seen quite a few of those, or on paper, just depending on what you did the last time you created an assignment. This time though, we are going to go into external tool for our assignment. And then I'm going to click find over here on the right-hand side. So once I see this configure external tool, I'm going to scroll in, and notice there are like 2 scroll bars here, so it could get confusing, but I'm going to scroll in this box here, and I am going to be looking for right here, Plato courseware, and I'm just going to click on that and then choose select. And then we always recommend, I think this is a good practice, to load in a new tab. That's just going to make it easier. Then everything's going to look nice once you get into Plato. So I choose load in a new tab. You can obviously choose if you want to sync it to PowerSchool. Now, in order for us to save it, even if we're not going to save and publish it, in order for us to save it, if I try and click save here, it is going to ask me to add a due date. So you can always just add, let's add May 15th because that's the last day of school. So let's say that's the due date for all of my assignments. So I'm just going to add this due date, and I'm only going to click save. And I recommend doing this as well. So save right now because we really haven't chosen any content yet. We haven't assigned anything to the students. And so that's when this next piece is going to come into play. So once you create your assignment, external tool, add a due date, and click save, now I have this load Plato 430 in a new window. And this is really where the bulk of this good stuff about Plato is going to happen. And we have all of these Plato courses available to us. So as I scroll down, you're going to see that there are a ton of courses in here. Now, keep in mind, not all of the courses in here are going to match directly to the courses that we teach, because it's not really like they're aligned to our textbooks. However, let's say, for instance, that I'm teaching Algebra 1, or I'm teaching earth science or chemistry or something along those lines. I can probably find an Algebra 1 course, but I also might look for, I know that Algebra 1 in some books is called, I'll get to it, integrated math. So I might find what I'm looking for in integrated math versus Algebra 1. And here's an Indiana Algebra 1 course. So there's a ton of, it's not just the single course most of the time if you're looking for a general subject. Now, if you're looking for something very specific, it might be only that single course. But take some time and look through these, because you might find what you're looking for in other names or in other places. So let's just go with Indiana Algebra 1 this is what I used to teach, so it seems appropriate for me to do this. So let's look at this screen now and all the content that might be available to us. So when I get to this Indiana Algebra 1, there's like a briefcase, and I'm going to click the arrow next to the briefcase to expand it. So now I can see that in this Indiana Algebra 1 Semester B course, there are 5 units, and there's an end of semester assessment. I'm going to talk about this end of semester assessment because you're also going to see the same type of assessment in a pre-test and a post-test within a unit. And so what are those? Those are going to be pre-test, post-tests, and they're going to be graded on a typical scale. So if a student scores a 76% on it, then when we go back into Canvas and a student's grade gets put into Canvas from Plato into Canvas, they're going to have a 76%. So whatever score they got on that pretest or that post-test, that's what score will be passed back to Canvas. If I made my assignment worth, let's say, 50 points and they got a 76% on it, it's only going to give them 38 points, right? 38 out of 50 points. So just keep that in mind for the pretest and post-test. It actually passes back the percentage, and then it scales it based on the score you put into that, into the point value on your assignment. Now, looking at a unit here, if I go into my units, so right now, April, we'd probably be around unit 5, unit 4, we'll say. So let's go to unit 5 for descriptive statistics. So I'm looking at, maybe I want to choose this surveys, experiments, and studies, but I really want to kind of see what it looks like before I actually assign it to students. So I'm going to click the arrow again. And now so starting at this header here and moving down to the tutorial, practice, and mastery test. This is like a little package. I wish I could draw a box right now around this, but this package here is all going to be able to be assigned to students. So wherever you see on the right-hand side the word select, that is what is going to be assignable to the kids. So notice that I can't just assign the tutorial, can't just assign practice, and can't just assign the mastery test. I have to assign all 3 of these things. If I would like to view any of them, I can pop out here and view that. So I just clicked view, and this is the mastery test. So this is not the tutorial. They would not start here, but I can at least see what content might be available for the students. I can do the same thing with the tutorial. I can actually open that up. Oh, and it's going to play that tutorial for me. And then once I'm ready, then I'm going to go here and choose select and assign that to my students. I can also preview the pre-test and the post-test if I'd like to, but now this is what my assignment looks like. So I'm actually going to exit out of all this stuff. I'm going to go back into Canvas, and now let's say I've assigned it to the students and they're getting in there and stuff. Now what for me? So as a reminder, we just saved the assignment. We did not publish it yet. So I would want to make sure that I go in and publish that assignment. And then if I click on it as the teacher and I choose this load Plato, remember the last time we did this, it let us select content. This time instead, it's going to bring us back to that progress page. And what you're going to see down at the bottom here are your students show up in a list, and then it's going to give you some information about those students. I can always come in here and view my assignment curriculum again. That's going to give me that preview. And then I have the legend here, which will let me know what a student has done. So I'm going to come into my course and I'm going to go into student view, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going into my course. And again, you have the ability to do this too. So you go into your course, go to student view, and now look at the screen looks different now, right? It used to look like this. Now it looks like this because this is what your students would see. And so then they would start here in the tutorial and they would begin that lesson and that process. And so I can just go through each of these. And it's actually reading it to me right now, and it's going to allow me to then select that answer. So let's just say I do save and exit, and that's really all that I do in here. So as you can see now, I have not started these things and I'm in progress. I've started this piece of it. And as I work through this stuff, it's going to, update that legend. It's going to show, okay, I've completed this, or I've mastered this, or I haven't started this, and so on. So it makes it pretty easy to then be able to collect data from the students. So let's go back now. I'm going to leave my student view. I'm going to go back in as a teacher because now I've actually had a kid start. So now what we're going to see, hopefully, yep, there we go. So now I'm going to see that my test student, I'm going to see the time that they actually took in that assignment, which was only 21 seconds. If they had any scores or anything like that, that would show in these two columns in the middle. And then right now they're in progress on this assignment. So that is really Plato content in Canvas in a nutshell. It's fairly simple. The big thing is just browsing the content and seeing really what works for you and your curriculum and for your students. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll go ahead and answer those.